Nights exist, the nightshade exists, the dark side, namelessness's cloak exists. The northern limit of consciousness exists, there where what is dreamt opens and closes its northern crown with nastic rotations, without the day or the night being definitely located, without nadir and zenith being vertically beneath or above, and without naos, the innermost room that is the cells, disclosing whether the seed in an inside sky gathers the limits of consciousness in a point, a flowering point, in which, as a little sunshine, ice ages exist. Ice ages exist. In which, as a little fire, the insect's wingless Nike exists, and neither victory nor defeat exists, only the comfort of nothing. The comfort of names, that nothing is called by name, that namelessness is called by name, that names exist, names like narwhal, nettle, names like nasturtium, nighthawk, names like nightjar, nightingale, new moon, names like nemesia, naiad, and the various names where a word, when mentioned, is a fragrance, like the narwhal's names for the Arctic Ocean, like the nettle's names for fever, like the nasturtium's names for faint reflections of the light in factory white nights, like the nighthawk's, the nightjar's names for feathers, like the nightingale's name for what it is to be an earthly singer hidden in the dampened scrub, like the new moon's names for earth and sun, like the Nemesia family's names for kinship, the naiad's names for what it is to be pondweed, and whisper the naiad's names in the wind. So, here I stand at the Barents Sea, which is the Barents Sea. It looks like the Barents Sea always is alone with the Barents Sea, but round the back of the Barents Sea, the water beats against Spitsbergen. And just behind Spitsbergen, the ice floats around in the Arctic Ocean. And just behind the Arctic Ocean, the ice is stuck onto the North Pole. And just behind the North Pole, it looks like the Beaufort Sea is all alone with the Beaufort Sea. But behind the Beaufort Sea, it looks like Alaska, only ever has seen Alaska. But behind Alaska, we eventually reach the Pacific Ocean. It looks like the Pacific Ocean always is alone with the Pacific Ocean. But round behind the Pacific Ocean, the ice floats around in the Antarctic Ocean. And just behind the Antarctic Ocean, the ice is stuck onto the South Pole. And just behind the South Pole, there is water again in the South Sea. And just behind the South Sea, the water beats against Africa. And just behind Africa, some water again in the Mediterranean. And just behind the Mediterranean, it looks like Turkey is all alone with Turkey. But behind Turkey, there is water again in the Black Sea. And just behind the Black Sea, it looks like Romania always is alone with Romania. But just behind Romania, we then have Soviet. It looks like Soviet is all alone with Soviet, but just behind Soviet, we actually have Finland. And it looks like Finland is all alone, just Finland. But behind Finland, we actually have Finnmark. And just behind Finnmark, there actually is the Barents Sea, level and cranium-plated, beneath the dome of light. And here I stand at the Barents Sea, all alone at the Barents Sea, evening the 24th of June. The canal in Gillen is as shiny as metal, and no matter what the weather, it always reflects an overcast sky somewhere, so one can never get up the courage to scratch one's heart in the water, and blind as a poem that is written too early, flow away from the local authorities' extras in the square. The streets lie as someone once must have laid them out and wait. The paving stone's light rises up towards an overgrown sky, and not until 5 o'clock, when the factory gate opens, does one see a child run to its father, whilst he looks like a stranger, and share his anxiety before it disappears. It is here in a worn-down province, where the street's trees for each hour that passes throw longer shadows than before, collect water and watch the grown-ups keep house with the allotted time and only reluctantly long for anything. It is here in a worn-down province, where no citrus trees flower, where even the swallows don't come, and the summer is almost gloomy with sun, that people lie awake and think whilst the gardens slowly take root. Only a few dogs are still out, an eagle settles on a blanket of air, whilst the child in its bed makes the printed wallpaper look like a sky that soon must clear. It is here in a worn-down province, with a sadness that no one dares love, that the gravel on the castle park's walkways continues creaking for years after the last of the lovers have gone. It is here in a worn-down province that the last crowd of houses long since has stopped up so people can watch TV and collect tears for later use. Only a nestless sparrow is brought up by hand. Only a puff of air from everything's lawless sorrow makes a tree whisper a black, indecipherable sound before the train starts up with a jerk, and I soon will only remember the empty platform and the bench with the wet newspaper, which the wind that leaves so thoughtfully through everything never lifted, whilst the rest is gradually absorbed. In my childhood, a place in a dry, inexplicable house where I stand by a window and look at the train in the pouring rain. Evening, 16th of June. Thank you very much.